till 6 in the evening. Let's go to Leanne now, who has a story of what one center in Ottawa means to so many women.
Michael, well said. And sometimes it takes a campaign to really shine the light on the work that is being done on a daily basis at a place like Amethyst Women's Addiction Center. We're going to share some very personal stories, and we're going to start, though, with Sandy Harmer, who has been involved with the center since its inception a mere 35 years ago. Sandy.
Yeah, and like I say, I was 2 when I started, so I would just say that.
But, you know, what has changed in terms of the way we understand addiction now versus 35 years ago?
Well, I think there's more awareness, certainly, for sure, in terms of what actually is addiction is all about. It's not just alcohol, it's prescription drugs, it's street drugs, and the newest one is gambling now, that we're finding more and more women are gambling to deal with issues in their life.
And addiction does not discriminate.
Absolutely not. It's right across the board. I mean, I have worked with women who have been stay-at-home moms, teachers, doctors, you name it.
And I know alcohol addiction is still, it's the most prevalent.
It is. It is. Alcohol is still the #1 drug of choice, followed closely by prescription drugs that are being given by doctors.
Barbara and Tracy are here to share their stories. And, you know, I have to say, I recently heard a quote that said, "Alcohol at first gave me wings and then it took away the sky." Does that quote resonate with you, Barbara?
It certainly does, and that really did happen. I just became very despairing, and I was a functional drunk. I functioned very well during the day, not so much alone, secret drinker, a lot of women are, and then I'd wake up the next morning feeling terrible and just so depressed and so awful, and that's why I wound up at Amethyst. I just walked through the door one day and said, I need help.
What's really interesting is you had profiled Amethyst recovery and the program as a reporter. You were a radio reporter, and we had a reconnection just this morning because Barbara taught me radio 25 years ago, and I said, "Are you?" And we had our little moment, and you said you were already sober when you were assigning me.
I was, so there you are, you see. If I hadn't been, I would be under the desk when you walked into the newsroom, yes.
And that wasn't the case. You were absolutely a fantastic professor, and you are now actually helping other women. Describe the role that you play at Amethyst.
Well, I'm an outreach volunteer, and that means that they will match me up with a woman in the program who's new in recovery, and I'm basically there to meet her for a cup of coffee, talk to her on the phone, and just offer her support and encouragement, you know, to let her know that it's really worth it.
And that is so critical. We're going to introduce Bella Luke, who is with Shoppers Drug Mart, because you're a key part of the fundraising effort that's on the go right now called the Tree of
Life campaign. It runs from September 14th to October 11th. So it's basically a 4-week intensive drive to build awareness and funds for the health initiatives with Amethyst Women's Addiction Center.
I think it's so appropriately named Tree of Life because essentially programs like this do give a woman back her life. You know, they're able to parent again. And so many women, as you say, are highly functional. You described it, Barbara, carrying on high-level jobs, and that was the case for you, Tracy. You were working on Parliament Hill, and you say you were severely addicted to a cocktail. Tell us what happened.
Yes, well, I had a nervous breakdown. I should go back maybe further and say I became pregnant for the first time, and the baby was stillborn. I carried the baby till 9 months. And needless to say, that was devastating for both me and my husband. And so I had a nervous breakdown, and my GP ended up referring me to a psychiatrist. And after my very first visit, I walked out of her office with a prescription for antidepressants, Halcyon, which is a sleeping pill, which is now banned in Europe, and plus Ativan, which is a tranquilizer. So I was on something every day for 5.5 years.
Can you believe you were actually able to function and carry on a job when you were... How would you describe your mind state during that period?
Towards the end, it wasn't so good, and basically at home, I was a zombie because I was sleeping all the time. Like sometimes on the weekend, I didn't even get out of my pajamas.
Your stories may really resonate with some women who are watching, or the spouses of, or friends of. When we come back, we're going to talk to Sandy some more about the work that's done, the programs that are there for you, and more with Bella about the fundraising efforts. Michael.
Thanks, Leanne. Well, lots more ahead on the program, including this story.